Again, we appreciate your attendance. I know that you all would like came to honor and our honoree today. I would like to recognize. We will recognize all of the head table before it's over, but this time this is our 4th year of this presentation. So our first recipient we would like to recognize as Floyd and Cecil Whitley. We went to the south to get the first one, and then we went north to get the second one. It's Carl and Fern Schrader. And then we went a little bit east and got Chuck Kramer. Then this year we went west. But there's a couple of recognitions. As you probably, most of you know, that usually when you saw Marie, you saw Helen James there also at conventions. Helen James isn't here. It's not that Helen is boycotting this, but Helen is attending a high school reunion in Santa Fe, New Mexico. As you know, Helen James remarried a couple of 3 years ago, and she and her husband went to high school together several years ago in Oklahoma. But so they, I think that one of their high school trips was to Santa Fe, New Mexico. So I guess there was a plan of a high school reunion, and this was planned over a year ago. So this was a commitment they made. So she sends her regrets, Marie, for not being able to be here. I think that one of the positive things about Marie McGee is that she is an Okie.
Did you have to tell that?
Well, maybe that's one good thing that Marie and I have in common, is that we're from Oklahoma. So.
I'm proud of it.
Anyway, I remember that. I think it was around 1990 that Marie started sending out questionnaires about the Millersburg glass. And I would imagine that most of you here, you were collecting glass at that time, received a questionnaire about what pieces of Millersburg glass did you have. So she had in mind for some time about collecting Millersburg glass. Of course, if you knew Marie several years prior to that you would have thought that Millersburg glass was probably the only glass that was ever made. I did ask Frank Fenton, who was supposed to be a presenter also today, but Frank had surgery, so even though he's a Fenton and he made the Fenton glass, Marie, he still would be able to come make a presentation for you, even though the Millersburg. Although there was a Fenton connection from Millersburg to Fenton also. But he sends his regrets. He had surgery and couldn't be here, so we would have liked to have had him, but he couldn't make it. But we are, as I said earlier, we are proud of being able to make this presentation. And without my further talk, we have three members that will be making a presentation and a talk for Marie. So we will start off with Bob Gallo.
Yeah, that's good. Well, thank you, Bob. I appreciate the thought. You asked me to say a few words about our very good friend, Marie McGee. Dottie and I have known Marie for a long time. We started collecting in May of '76. We bought a little collection in April of '77. Our first convention was the 77 Marietta, Georgia ICGA, and then next year we went to Hoga. And that's where we first met Marie and Helen James. One of the nicer things that's happened to us in Carnival glass. Marie McGee, collector, author, and a darn good source of Carnival glass information. Dottie and I remember some time ago at one of the auctions or seminars we were at, Marie was going to give a seminar, and she had a large vintage bowl with a hobnail back in blue. And I remember when she got that at a particular auction, and she says, I'm going to get that, whatever I have to do. And she got it. And after that, she was heard to observe, well, that cost me a pretty good hunk of Standard Oil stock. But it was worth it. So, at that time, she didn't have the small vintage bowl that went with it, so we gave that to her to include it in her talk, and that's what she did. And that was one of the strong points of our hobby, is people like Marie sharing their knowledge, their glass, and their time with us. And all of us benefit from something like that. As long as we have Marie in our midst and people like that, we will have a strong hobby, and I don't think there will be any problem with any of us in this room at this time when you go to sell your glass that you're going to have a problem getting the prices you may like. You know, there are good people and there are bad people. There are happy people and there are sad people. Well, considering the things that Marie went through with her health in the last years, she still has those two good attributes. She's a good person and she's a happy person. And Dottie and I have always felt that we were very privileged to have known a person like Marie. So Marie, we just hope that God keeps you and gives you a lot of good health in the years ahead of you. God love you, and we love you, sweetheart. Bye. You're with us.
The next will be Richard Sinclair.
Actually, I'm filling in for Frank Fenton. So, watch this. Frank is really a neat guy, too. Ms. Millersburg, as I think most of us know Marie. Certainly, we recognize her for her authorship, her scholarship, her speaking ability, her sharing, her expert knowledge, and for being a sweet lady. But before I go on, I would like to recognize and look at the other people that have won this award. And one of the things that I think is most important that we recognize is the service to humanity that these people have done, not in Carnival glass, but in their lives. And so when we look at each of the honored people, I think it's important that we see that they're good people, that they have done things outside of Carnival glass. We certainly are aware of what they've done in Carnival. I was watching TV not too long ago, and there was some kind of an ad on where young people were encouraged to be like Mike. And I watched the ad, and I suddenly realized it was about Michael Jordan, basketball player who's the best. And I think that the people that we have already honored in the years past, starting with the Brits, are the best. And this year, it's no different. Marie, although she's not a Texan, has kids in Fort Worth. So, right there, that makes her okay. A nicer person you can't find than Marie. She's knowledgeable. She has a sharing sense about her in information, but mostly, and most importantly, she is a sweet lady.
Tom Mordini.
Thank you, Bob. Welcome. Glad you could all attend this dinner today for Marie McGee. I can't think of anybody that's more deserving to have drawn this kind of a crowd than Marie. I look at Marie and it reminds me of all of the people that collect Carnival glass and the people that are involved with Carnival glass. And it makes me feel real good to see that a woman is being recognized for all of her lifetime accomplishments in Carnival glass. We sometimes give, I think, the men too much credit in Carnival glass. After all, I do believe that most of the men who have reached the forefront of Carnival were all driven pretty hard by the women. And I do believe that in most cases, it was probably the women that started off the collecting before the guys ever got involved anyhow. And I know in Marie's case, she has been dedicated to collecting Carnival glass, whether it be Millersburg or whatever. She's always said that no matter what you collect, it doesn't matter if it's Millersburg glass or Fenton or Northwood. That if you love the glass, that's all that counts. And all of us certainly do. Marie never has had a bad word for anybody. I've talked to her off and on ever since we started collecting about 1980. And I met her about that time. And she took Sharon and I in and talked to us and visited with us and encouraged us, just like we had been doing this since the beginning of the older collector's era. So we appreciated that. And she's been just as decent to us over all those years as she was in the beginning. And those are the things we remember her for. When I first took over the editorship of the Lincoln Land newspaper, Sharon and I thought about some of the things we could do to try to recognize the collectors out there. And we had to decide who would be the first person that we would write the article on. And we just thought, hey, a real natural on this would be Marie McGee. So she was the first one that we wrote a profile on. And we've picked up a few others after that. It's not a monthly thing we do, but whenever we feel that somebody should be recognized and talked about, we think real hard as to who that individual will be. And the first choice was Marie McGee. Do you remember that, Marie?
Yes. Felt real honored.
Thank you. We were wondering what would be a fitting thing to do to recognize Marie. And we have always known her as a group, and her accomplishments have always been recognized within the Carnival community. But we were thinking, who else really knows about this? Other than the folks within Carnival glass. We thought, well, probably other people who she's communicated with over the years. But we weren't sure, so we thought, well, maybe we should go back to her hometown, or her longtime hometown of Fresno, California, where she now lives, and see if the folks back there know who Marie McGee is. Well, we called the managing editor of the Fresno Bee, I believe it is. Is that the name of your local? Yeah, the Fresno Bee. And he knew Marie real well. He says just about everybody in Fresno knows Marie. She's been around a long time. And I said, well, did you know that Marie is coming to Kansas City to be honored by a very prestigious group of Carnival glass collectors? He said, no, she didn't tell anybody that she was going to Kansas City. He says, tell me more about it. So we told him what the deal was, that she was coming to Kansas City to be given the John and Lucille Britt Award for Carnival Glass Excellence. And he said, that sounds like the biggest thing that's happened in Fresno in years. And I said, well, is it worthy enough of an article maybe in the Fresno newspaper? He said, huh, is it? he said, I think we can write a nice article on that. So I gave him all the details, told him when she'd be here, what it was all about, mentioned the name of John Lucille and how the award was given and why it was given, and he took all this stuff down. And I called him yesterday, and I said, did you decide to do an article on Marie? And he said, yeah, absolutely. I said, well, is there any way that we can get an advance copy of the newspaper? He said, absolutely. He said, I'll ship it to you overnight. I said, okay. And he did. Wrote a nice article. I've got it right here. He just sent the front page. And I thought it would be buried on the third or fourth page, but he said, no, not for one of our own. He says, that has to be headlines. So I have here tomorrow's edition of the Fresno Bee. And the headline, oh, I have to apologize for one thing. You know how newspapers are. You give them a story and you talk and you talk and you have them read it back and you make sure it's all right. And that's almost always something is not just right. But they got most of it right. Yeah. That's a first. Well, here it is. Tomorrow's edition of the Fresno Bee. And the headlines say, longtime Fresno resident Marie McGee leaves for Kansas City to join the Carnival. That's what it says. There it is. Marie, this is going to be published tomorrow. So if there's anything you want changed, you can just give them a call.
If I get laid out tonight, because my house will be robbed.
Thank you.
We do appreciate those words on behalf of Marie. As I said, it is an honor that we feel it a privilege to be able to make such a presentation to an individual in the name of John and Lucille Britt. And in that way, we feel that we are honoring the Britts along with that individual. We all know the contributions that the Britts have made to Carnival glass, and they continue to make the Carnival glass. So John and Lucille, if you would like to make the presentation of the vase.
Where's Jim Capps? I'm at a loss for words. He won't believe it. I've had quite a few awards in my lifetime, and I've had a lot of privileges of being recognized. But I think that this was probably the one that will mean the most to me. And even if I don't have any people's vases to put it by, I do have some pretty nice Millersburg. as I look out here and see so many faces that I know that are here, and see a crowd like this clear to the back of the place, that makes me feel better than ever. And there's somebody that's been very close to me with Carnival glass collecting, and probably the longest and the most steady person and friend, and that's Marie Capps, who's sitting at the front table. And there's so many other people. Like I said, I like everybody. I like few people, some people better than I do others, but I've never seen anybody that I didn't like. And what I have learned about Carnival glass, it's just like the book. It's as I know it and how I learned it. And I just hope that my health continues so I can keep on doing it. And I was just thinking before I come out here, I was looking through my old Carnival memories, and I think I've got 40 ribbons from conventions. And there's some conventions that they didn't give ribbons. And so that's the reason why everybody in the United States knows Marie McGee. But anyway, thank you all, and I think these people up here, they couldn't have chosen more special people to talk about me. But I've just got to tell a little story about him here. Sinclair, do you know when I give talks, we're either there together or he follows up. I thought I had him. I went to New Hampshire in September, and who do you think's is speaking there this year? Richard Sinclair. And you know what he had the gall to say to me? That he had to follow along and clear things up. But I just had to share that with you because that's what Texas friends are like. I like them Texans. And I can say that because I do have kids that think they are Texans. They've been there so many years that they think they're Texans. And so I can say that. I can talk about people from Oklahoma, Texas, and California, but nowhere else because I haven't been there. But anyway, thank you all, and I hope that you enjoyed this, and I hope that I'll be standing up in front of all of you a lot of times more. And thank you.
And again, John and Lucille, we thank you for your example that you set and the standard of which you have set for Carnival glass. And we also thank our former recipients for being here today and joining in this honor. We still thank of their talks, and I'm sure that we will continue to do that in the future also. That will conclude this luncheon, and again thank you for coming, and we'll see you then. We do have a 2 o'clock annual meeting that has to take place. I would like to make just a brief announcement. I'm sure you're not all going to just rush into this annual meeting because usually the crowd isn't too large there. But we are meeting a week later this year than we normally meet, because we were in the process of wanting to transfer to this hotel from the Holiday Inn, which we all agreed probably that is an improvement. But in order to do that, we had to take this week rather than our normal time would have been last weekend, but we had to transfer this weekend, and next year the meeting will be back to the 4th. Our annual meeting is to be the 4th Friday of the month of April. So next year it will be back at the normal, regular time that we have it. It's always in association with the fourth Friday of the month of April. So that's the reason we're here 1 week later. Maybe it's good because maybe some of those up north might have been still snowed in. Maybe fate took over and helped us in this situation. But again, thank you for coming, and the annual meeting will be at 2 o'clock, and I think it will be in A, B, or C. So it's to be at 2 o'clock, so it's in E. We're in E now. Well, we came out and had all this planned, and then they started shuffling rooms, so we're going to have an annual meeting. 2 o'clock. Thank you again.